On a company-sponsored cruise, 2/3 of the passengers were company employees, and the remaining passengers were their guests. If 3/4 of the company employee passengers were managers, what was the number of company employee passengers that were not managers? So if 3/4 of the company employees were managers, 1/4 of them are not managers. So 1/4 of 2/3, that would be 1/6 of all passengers fall into this special category of non-manager employees. And so if we knew the total number of passengers, we'd be able to figure out how many passengers were in this particular category. So statement number 1 tells us there were 690 passengers on the whole cruise ship. So this tells us the total number of passengers. From this, we could very easily figure out 1/6 of that, and that would be the number of non-manager passengers. And so this statement is 100% sufficient. Now forget about that statement, move on to statement number 2. Statement number 2 tells us there were 230 passengers who were guests of company employees. Well, 2/3 of the passengers were company employees. That means 1/3 of them were not. 1/3 of them were the guests. So 1/3 of all the passengers would be 230. Well, that would allow us to figure out the number of passengers, which would allow us to figure out 1/6 of the number of passengers, which would allow us to figure out the number of employees who are not managers. So this statement is also sufficient. Both statements are sufficient. Answer choice D.